So Layla, I'm so excited to talk to you. You look so cute. I love your hair.
Thank you so much.
I'm a huge fan of BMF, and you guys, you in particular, have been killing it. So I'm so excited. But I saw you in a Haribo commercial. You were only 5 years old, and I believe that's how you got your start. And so I'm dying to know, was acting and being on camera something that you always aspired to be or do rather?
Yes, when I was that little, I just liked, the feeling of the set. I like seeing people, running around and doing their jobs, and the knowledge that that was going to be on TV was so cool to me. But when I started getting out of like the Disney channels and the Nickelodeons, it started to become more about the actual craft, and I really wanted to learn like how can you make something look this real, so that's when it really started becoming about acting for me.
Definitely. So you go from doing commercials and like you talked about Nickelodeon and everything. Talk to us about your first role, your first serious role where you felt like, okay, this is something that's big for me. And what did you learn from that experience?
So when I was about 10,
Mhm.
I booked a featured extra role with Denzel Washington and Don Cheadle on the movie The Flight.
Yes.
I was the girl on the elevator, and being on that set was very, very, it was fun, but it was also telling for me because I was watching Denzel Washington, who everyone was like so in awe of, and they were talking to like he was just this genius, and I'm 10, so I'm like, okay, who is this guy?
Right.
And after looking into them and hearing from my parents about who he was and all of that, I realized like, okay, so this is really a craft. There's really more to this. Like you can have a motivation, you can have a moment before or something like that. That's when I started to dive deeper into actual acting and the practice of it.
Wow, I love that. I know you were like, wait, who? Denzel Washington. Everybody else is like, oh my God, oh my God. I can't imagine what that must have been like for you being so young and being in the front of
It
Denzel.
it was fun. I mean, it was just fun. I could tell that he was good from
Mhm.
the way that people were treating him and talking to him, but also from the way he was carrying himself too. The way that he would kind of go off by himself, stay in the character, stay in that mode, and I'd be like, why is he like just by himself?
Mhm.
And my mom would be like, he's probably in character. I was like, in character, okay. And so then I went in the when we were in the elevator, I was trying to like be I don't know, I guess give as much emotion as I could towards him. I don't know, I just remember trying to really stare into his eyes real deep.
Soak in the energy. Let me soak
Yeah.
in this acting energy from the legend himself. I love that. I love that. Okay, Layla, like I said, I'm so impressed by you and just everything that you are about. So you recently graduated from high school and you attend the Howard University. My niece attended Howard, so I'm a Howard auntie, and I'm a product of an HBCU myself. So I love this story. But talk to us about how you landed on Howard. Had you applied for other schools or was Howard your first choice? Talk to us a little bit about that.
I definitely applied for other schools. Most of my family actually ended up going to FAMU. Like a lot of my aunties and my mom, my uncle, they all went to FAMU. And so it was gonna be FAMU for like years, a long time. But then just looking into different theater programs, when I figured out that that's what I wanted to be my major,
Mhm.
um, Howard was just, it seemed like the right choice. And I went on a tour here, and I just love the campus. I love the vibe, and it was awesome to be here. So it seemed like the right choice.
I love that. What has your experience been like so far? I've seen your pictures of you like on the yard, like look at Layla living her best HBCU life. What has your experience been like so far there?
It's been awesome. I'm learning a lot. They're really serious about the acting program here, which is awesome because I'm learning so much. Especially the fact that it's theater and not film. And so being able to apply those things to film and vice versa. It's really nice to get that duality there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know, there's the social aspect of it too. Everyone on my floor is so nice. On my floor, I live in Harry Tubman Quadrangle.
Yes.
Everyone on my floor is so nice,
Mhm.
and we have a great time together. It's nice to be here.
Are
It
people
really
like that's Nicole for being? Are people
you
like
know
hounding you at school?
you know what I get a lot? I get a lot of, you know who you look like? You look like that girl from BMF. And then I go, you know what? I get that a lot.
Look
And
at
then I go,
you. Layla.
I get that so much. Sometimes if I feel, you know, adventurous, I'll be like, that's me. And they're like, yeah,
What?
you look like her. I'm like, that's me. They're
Look,
like,
I love it.
those crazies.
I love it. I love it. I love this. How are you balancing it all though? How are you balancing like being in college on a hit show with like people know this story. People have followed this story in this family for so long. And this show, 50 Cent on Starz, so everybody's invested in it. But how are you handling being on this hit show and going to, the Harvard of HBCUs, if you will, Howard? How are you handling it all? College and a successful acting career.
Um, well, I my calendar is my best friend. It's right off the side of my computer right now. Everything that I have to do is written down.
Mhm.
Um, and so, you know, for me to stay punctual and things like that. Um, I also try to keep my body healthy, keep
Yes.
out and things like that. Working out is a huge stress reliever for
Yeah.
me. So that really helps me out. You know, if I get a little block or something like that, I'm like, okay, let me go do some running or, you know, turn some music on and dance to just
Right.
expel some energy. And then I keep God at the center of my life. So I wake up and I watch a sermon, try to remember that he's got it in his hands. So anything that I'm worried about, he's got it. And that's all I can do.
Layla, parents did well. They did a good job. They did a really good job. I love that. Um,
God.
let's get into it, right? BMF. Congratulations on the season 3 pickup. You
Thank you
all
so much.
deserve that. You all deserve. Are you excited about that news, or were you like expecting it? Obviously.
I was so excited. Of course, I was excited to hear, but I was also kind of expecting it. Like, people love this show too much for
Yeah.
it to, yeah.
Yeah. People, we're
It
invested,
was,
right? We're invested.
but
Let's
still
get to your role on BMF. You played the sister of Meech and Terry. Talk to us about how you landed this role in the audition process, if you will. Because Layla, let me just say this: you on the show, you do look like a little girl. So you don't look like you're a college student. Like you don't look that old, right? So that's good. You have that going for you. But talk to us a little bit about your audition process and how you eventually booked the role of Nicole.
I've always my whole life gotten that I look so young, and you know, you look like you're like 12, you look like you're 13. And I'm like, I know. So those are the kinds of auditions that I usually get too. I'm 18 years old. I'll be 19 in March.
Mm-hmm.
And I still get auditions for like 14, 13-year olds, you know, which is good. A good thing as an actor. Because I'll be able to play those roles a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I got the role, and it was interesting, and it was out of the box because I usually didn't really get roles for people, for real stories, people that had actually lived before. So I was interested. I was like, okay, let me do some research. I did my research. I
Yeah.
looked up, had a Detroit accent. And it was during quarantine. It was smack dab in the middle of quarantine. So I had all this time, and I
Mm-hmm.
just worked and worked and worked on it every single day until about 2 days before it was due. I sent in the audition, and then about a month later,
Mm-hmm.
they asked if I was available, and I said yes.
Listen, look at God opening doors. Okay.
Won't
Look,
he do it?
won't he? He will, and he has. You talked about how you approached the research at first for the audition. Okay, so you booked the role. Do you reach out to the sister? How do you like, okay, let me really dive into her. You get the script, but I need to know like what was her experiences like to reach out to her and get any advice from her?
Yes, so the first rehearsal day on set that I was there, she was there. And so, we got each other's socials and we got, phone numbers and everything like that. So whenever I have a question or post anything, she's commenting on my posts or answering my questions, setting up meetings. And she's been amazing, amazing to work with. And definitely helps me out with, her character and her thought process at the time.
Wow. And like you said, what has it been like working with Little Meech? And I know Terry's been on set. There see some pictures, and you all look like a real family. Like the characters look like the real, you know what I mean? So talk to me
Yeah.
about that.
It's fun having him there. I mean, number one, it's inspirational, right? Because he is like a gentle reminder of why we're doing this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he, of course, he's not like, but he's a reminder that we're doing this. This is a real story. We're bringing light to a story that some people may not know, but who impacted a lot of people. These two brothers impacted so many people. So that's really important. And for me, it's a gentle reminder. And then also day to day on the set, he treats me like I'm his real sister. So, we tease each other, we have fun. It is a real family because he really does. Him and Da Vinci and Mr. Terry, they
Mhm.
treat me like I'm really their niece or their little sister. So it really is like a family.
I love that. I love that. Okay, what can you tease? Last week's episode, you're in there in the beauty shop sweeping, or the nail shop sweeping up, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting, like how they left off. What can you tease about this week's episode and what we can expect?
I won't tease too much,
And you should.
but be expecting a little more drama in Atlanta this episode.
Mhm.
And a little more that's all I'll say. A little more drama in Atlanta.
A little bit
Close
more
my mouth.
in Atlanta. Okay, your hometown in Atlanta. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ATL. Layla, like I said, you're booked and blessed. You're killing it. But do you have a dream role that you would like to dive into? Or is there anybody that you want to work with, like a dream cast?
I would love to work with Jarrell Jerome.
Ooh.
That's a dream of mine. He did amazing in Concrete Cowboy and When They See Us. And
Mhm.
I'd also really love to work with Viola Davis. That's, no brainer. Viola Davis, I would love to work with her. Ava DuVernay,
Yeah.
as a director, I would love to work with her. Those are the three off the top of my head, but yeah, those three I would love to work with. Oh, Lakeith Stanfield,
Oh,
love him too. I would love to work alongside him as well.
love
Yeah.
it. You named all of the heavy hitters. You also want to get into directing, is that right? You want to do a little bit of directing. What inspired that? What made you want to try to go behind the camera?
Well, at the beginning of high school, I started to realize that I was getting older and I needed to start making my own projects because this auditioning thing, we can't just rely on that. So I started making my own projects and then I didn't have anyone to direct them. So I started, getting into that. And the world of directing is so cool. Like they literally have a hand in every single part of the process of being on set pre-production, during production, and post-production. And that was the thing that had gripped me as a 5-year-old, you know what I mean? Just to be on the set and feel that energy of every single department, no matter what it was. So that it hooked me again, but this time just for behind the scenes. So that's really why I fell in love with directing as well.
I can't wait to see some Layla directed projects. I'll be looking out for that. Stay tuned for that. And lastly, Layla, like you said, I love like how you balance everything. But in this world, in this day of social media, what advice would you give, especially to your peers? Because social media is it can be both a gift and a curse, I would say, because you can put your content out there, you can connect with so many people, but then it can be, a space where it's not so good for people's mental health, right? What advice would you give to those who are watching, who are trying to navigate it all? They're wanting to maybe have a career in entertainment, maybe acting or behind the camera, but they're just balancing everything, social media, maybe
Right.
schoolwork and everything, but they're wanting to, try out some different things in the arts. What advice would you share with them?
I would say two things. The first one being just give yourself some grace. You know, if you need to go ahead and delete an app for a week or a month or however long, go ahead and do that, because really no one is paying your bills but you. No one is doing your work but you. So if you need to delete that app and get back to your space, then you should do that. And then the second one being just be honest with yourself. You know, if you don't need to be looking at those comments, don't look at those comments. And if you're a social media influencer and the comments influence, you know, your content, have somebody else, a trusted individual, do that and then tell you the, you know, leaf through it and tell you the constructive criticism, and maybe let's try this next week, or let's keep this because this was doing really well. You know what I mean? Don't pay attention to those comments, because again, they're not paying your bills. They are not making your content for you. And so their opinions do not matter. Yeah, as long as you're doing it for you and it's making you happy, then that's all you need.
Here we have it. Wisdom from Laila. She's dropping gems. I love it. 18, 19 next month. What are you doing for your birthday?
Studying, probably. No, I'll go out and do something. I'll probably go out to lunch with my friends.
Yes, go to lunch with your friends, but study. That's right. Laila, thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us today. I'm so excited about your bright future ahead. You're already killing it at only 18. So you're in good hands. I know you'll do good. I know you'll do good.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. This was a great interview.
Thank you, Laila. See you later.